And Jermaine was very smart. He actually worked with me when I was in transit. I was what we call a motorman. I worked there for 27 years. And Jermaine went to college, and on the summer he was off. He worked with me as a conductor. And then after that, he went on and he wanted to be a locomotive engineer. And he got tired of getting laid off, so he went back to college and got his master's. And after that, he had put in for the fire department and the police department. And they both responded right around the same time. So he asked me, Dad, what do you think? What do you think I should do? And I said, I think maybe I would pick the fire department. And he said, why? I said, because it's the less of the two evils. So at that time, Jermaine got with the fire department. He was able to do numerous of things. He became even a landlord. And I was a landlord, and I gave my property to him. And right now, he left it, put it back in my lap. It might sound sad, but that's the way the Lord have it to be. When God calls, we got to answer. Do y'all believe that? Nobody said nothing. I didn't hear you. Thank you. God bless you. And thank you.
It's a difficult time, though, sir, with him walking down his daughter down the aisle a short time ago. It has to be so extremely difficult.
Yes,
for
he
your
did.
family.
Yes.
Can we ask you to take a little step closer? I'm so sorry. Thank you, just so we can hear.
So can you give us sort of the reaction when you first heard about what happened? Can you just tell us how the family reacted to that?
Well, I got a call from my wife. I was actually on the Board of Elections, right down the street, 119th, just across Wentworth. I saw all the lights in that, Then later she called and told me that the fire department had came by and picked her up, and she was on her way to Christ Hospital. And I said, when that happens, I know something is really bad. So I told them that I had to leave. I had an emergency. And I must have been doing about 100 miles an hour going over there. And when I got there, I found out the news. But
How many brothers and sisters did he have?
pardon?
How many brothers and sisters?
He had all brothers. He had 3 brothers.
He was the youngest one,
He was the youngest one.
and you only have how many children in total? Your children.
4. 4 boys.
How does it make you feel to know that your son was saving the lives of other people?
Oh, I felt wonderful. That's why I picked the fire department.
Is that why you said the lesser of two evils? What did you mean by that?
Because normally, the police get shot at, and I know in the fire department they don't generally shoot at the firemen.
And you have one granddaughter and then a grandson or granddaughter that's 6.
I have a granddaughter who got married in November the 7th, and that was Jermaine's daughter, and he have a young son about 6. His name is Jared, and her name is Jory.
Can you spell both of those for us?
Jory, Jorie. Jared, Jered.
What do you want us to know about Jermaine?
Pardon?
What do you want us to know about Jermaine?
Well, Jermaine was a very kind-hearted person, like his daddy. And but I think he was a little more stern than me, because he knew how to say no, but his daddy doesn't. So Jermaine, he'd be willing to help anybody, but he know how to tell you to get off or bag up. But overall, he was one of the kindest persons I ever met. I think he got that from me. That part he did. And I think he was very smart too, ambitious. But we're gonna miss him. And I know all of the fire department family is gonna miss him. But one thing, God is real. And y'all better know that. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Y'all better know that God is real. And when he gets ready for you, he's gonna call you home. Because this is on a temporary place for us. You believe that? If you don't, you're gonna find out. Because Jermaine only lived 49 years. I'm 79. I'm 30 years older than he is. So he was cheated out of 30 years. So we would say, with God, we love Jermaine, but God loved him best.
How is the family staying strong?
Pardon?
How is the family staying strong? How is his daughter?
Well, we got strong people like myself. You know, we believe in God. When things like this happen, you have to turn to God. You see, a lot of people think God is just a mist. But that's not true. How do you think you got here? You just evolved. Okay.
Sir, you said you were a motorman with CTA?
Yes.
Is there anything particular, I know you're here to pick up some of your son's belongings, anything particularly that you're going to cherish that you've come here to get today? Or if you don't want to answer that, I understand, of course.
Well, I came here today to pick up his car. And also, I'm leaving with a lot of love from these guys, the firemen here. They spoke so highly of him, and I'm glad that I was part of that.
I think this one of your sons coming to you, right?
Actually, those are his first cousins, his hangout buddies.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Thank you for your service. Thank you.
Do we need pictures?
Let me bring it out here. It'll be easier. Let me bring it down here for you.
Name yourself. Is that right? He was a manager. Yeah.
Anthony Frazier, Frazier, Deputy District Chief with the Chicago Fire Department. Just wanted to let you guys know that our hearts are heavy right now. We have, there's not a dry eye in the building. Jermaine was a wonderful father, firefighter, cook, brother, and son. I want to tell you a whole lot of stuff about Jermaine, but I do have our union here, Local 2, and I also have some officers here that actually work directly with him, so I want to give them an opportunity to share.
My name is David Bernicke.
Can you spell your full name?
D-A-V-I-D, last name's B-E-R-N-I-C-K-Y. I'm a lieutenant here on Engine 75. Like Mr. Pelt said, Jermaine was a very kind-hearted person. We're gonna miss him. His family's about service. Here's a man that served in the military, volunteers to work at the election right down the block. Jermaine, other than being a firefighter, was a registered nurse and a paramedic. He grew up wanting to serve. not just the citizens, but Jermaine also, a couple of years ago, decided to go down to the fire academy and be an instructor. I've been an instructor down there. I know what it takes. Captain Osie's been down there plenty of times, probably 20 classes. It takes a lot for someone to volunteer to go down there and train other people to do the job the way it should be done. Jermaine's gonna be missed. That's all.
How long did you work with him?
I've only worked with him for last couple years, but I've known Jermaine for about 15 years. Great man. You'll never find anyone to say a bad word about him. He was probably the kindest person on this job, bar none.
What do you like to cook?
Oh,
What do you make?
I heard one of you guys said that.
I'm holding my belly in. I'm holding my belly in from his cooking. No, he did. I mean, and he cooked yesterday. They said he made barbecue chicken, jerk chicken, fried chicken, cornbread. I mean, he,
For his
yeah.
family with his family?
Oh yeah, he
For us.
For
He
this
drew,
year.
drew down a meal yesterday. No, right here. He started yesterday morning, and he cooked, and he was a hell of a cook.
You guys spend so much time together precisely because of the way your schedules work,
Yes.
right? You really do become very much a family.
Yeah. Some of us spend more time with the firemen than we do with our family. You know, with work. You know, especially if your family works and stuff like that, and you're with them. I mean, you're with that person for 24 hours, and we get to really get to know these people. Jermaine, very, very quiet. I just couldn't get him to stop calling me lieutenant. Everyone else calls me by my name, but he there was the respect his parents instilled in him, that he said, you got a title, I gotta call you by your title.
I bet recently he'd been talking about his daughter's wedding.
He loved his children. He loved his children. He was a very quiet, soft-spoken guy, but he had a heart of gold. You got something?
Rory Osie, spelled R-O-R-Y. Last name is O-H-S-E. As Dave mentioned, I worked with Jermaine at the fire academy. That is, it's not an easy job. They're long hours. We're taking some of the city's best firefighters, and we're trying to build them into that, but we're building it from scratch. You can imagine working with your kids. It's not an easy thing to do, but Jermaine had that kind voice when the candidates didn't understand what was going on. There's some instructors they wouldn't go to because they knew they wouldn't get that perfect explanation, but Jermaine was that kind voice that they could always turn to. But in addition to being the kind voice, he knew the job. He understood what it took to be a firefighter, not just the X's and O's, but he understood the passion that you had to have to be a firefighter. He truly believed that this was a family, and he helped us preach that to the candidates. So we know sometimes we're not seen as in the eyes of the city as anything more than a number, but we always say to us here within these walls, we're a family to each other. We're brothers and sisters, and we look out for each other. That's why this was a hard day, and the next few days are going to be very hard. We've mentioned to the guys in there right now, and they say they can't believe it. I've just mentioned to them it hasn't sunk in yet. Chief Frazier's been around for over 30 years, and he's been involved with many of these line of duty deaths. And when you hear the stories about the commissioners coming to the firehouse and talking to the guys and the things that happened, you never really realize what it's going to be like until you're in that kitchen and the commissioner's there asking you how you feel, and it's surreal right now that this is even happening.
Does it make you think more about your own mortality?
We took an oath to do this job. We talked at our roll call that we're going to answer every bell. The chief asked us if we wanted to be out of service, and we said no, because this is what Jermaine would do. Jermaine wouldn't take the day off. I got to take every call. Jermaine was a part of this community, this West Pullman, Roseland area for almost 20 years. He knew people. When you go on runs, you get to know people. You get to know their names. You get to see their faces. You know who they are. They wave at you when you're on the runs. We honk the horn at them. So we become a part of the community here. And Jermaine was like that. So we didn't. We want to take the runs. So no, I don't think about it like that. I want to continue doing what we do, because that, I think, takes the pain away a little bit.
So Commissioner mentioned his devotion to this community. That's significant.
It is. It is. I would say he had a devotion to the job. As I mentioned, being an instructor, I mean, we would work 9 and 10-hour days. We would work on weekends. Candidates who were struggling with the state test, we would meet with them early or stay late. So he had a devotion to the job. He had a devotion to this neighborhood. I mean, truly to this neighborhood that he lived in. This wasn't just a place that he came to work. You know, we don't call it a fire station. We call it a firehouse because it's our home. But he also lived in this community too. So he had a great tie, and he was proud that this firehouse was here where it was.
How long
So
was he a part of this particular company?
he was a part of Engine 75, I believe, his entire career.
He worked at Truck 27, which is on 114th in Michigan, and then he transferred to Engine 75, which is on 119th. But this is the new firehouse, and it's only been here a couple of years. But he's been in this community for probably all of his 18 years.
Yeah. West Pullman and Roseland before that. So he's always been here in this community.
And this is where he grew up too?
You have to ask his father where he grew up, but I don't.
Lives,
Currently,
work, worship,
Yeah.
everything in this community. Yeah.
yes.
I know he went to Corliss High School and Alice Harvey College, so yeah, he grew up in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very.
Were you the lieutenant with him at the?
No,
No.
I came in this morning.
You heard though that he
The-
was pulled out by.
Yeah, the lieutenant that was with him yesterday was one of the 3 members that were taken to the hospital.
How are they doing?
Well, the
According
word we
to the
got is they.
circumstances, not good mentally, physically. They're gonna make it. They're alive, and it's a little bit of a road to recovery, but they're okay according to the circumstances.
You know, one story I just want to about Jermaine. I don't know that I can give names of the other firefighters, but one of the firefighters that was injured, he was actually one of Jermaine's candidates. So Jermaine taught him in the academy. So they started their career together on his very first day coming on the fire department. Jermaine was there, and then they were able to. He got sent here to this house and met back up with Jermaine. So they always had that special tie. You know, one had almost 20 years, the other one has just a couple years, but they had that tie from his very, very first day, and it's a special bond to have with the firefighters.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes.